All right, and we should be live now on Uncanny Adventures. We're back for some more Call of Cthulhu, Shadows Over Stillwater. We have two of our returning players, one player who can't make it this week and will be back next session, and we have a new player this week who's joining our investigators. So, hi, I'm Jeanette. I am your keeper on this game, and we are in the Old West setting from the Down Darker Trails book that came out recently. And we're going to go around and say hi to everybody, let them reintroduce you to your characters, and jump back into this adventure and see what are the things we can get up to. So, we'll go around. Why don't we start with D-Sword?
Hi everyone, I am D-Sword, D-Sword16 on Twitter and Discord. Looking forward to another week, looking forward to our amazing new player jumping in on this one. Where else you can find me, let's see, I was on the Scraticus channel 2 days ago, yesterday, one of those. And I will also be coming up on Half Rate Heroes. I can't tell you exactly when or who I'll be playing, but I'll be there. So look out for me then.
Outstanding. And Callie?
Hi, I'm Callie, or Cats Callie on Twitter and everywhere. I play Olive Archer. She's a journalist, and I'm in a lot of streams that I'm not going to mention right now because it would take forever. Find me anywhere. No, follow me on Twitter.
Follow on Twitter. Her Twitter will pop up below, and then you can follow. And welcome to our newest player, Vex.
Hello, I'm Vex. VexX on Twitter. I'll be playing Kiyo Higa, an entertainer, and more will come from that later, I assume. And find me pretty much a lot of places where Callie is on too, but Fractured Moon D&D on Twitter, on Twitch is my main channel that I run a couple games on.
Outstanding. So, we are back in the small town of Stillwater, New Mexico. Last time in our first session, the investigators were sent to Stillwater by a judge in their hometown. Oh, did we... Hang on a second.
I'm still here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just have to turn my mic for just 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. So our investigators came to town, deputized by a judge in Mesilla, who has sent them to collect a wanted murderer that has been sighted in town. So they mounted up on their horses and headed out to Stillwater, and they have just arrived within the last few hours or so, and were sort of making themselves familiar with the surrounding area. When they settled in for some food and drink and to get rooms at one of the two local watering holes, the Sweetwater Saloon, where they met the proprietor and his employees, and were asking questions about their wanted criminal. So, Sol and Olive, you find yourselves sitting at the bar. You've had a couple of shots of whiskey, gained a little information. You've learned that the criminal that you're looking for, one Hanratty, apparently is staying on his brother-in-law's claim and helping him dig in his mine. And that it's a little ways outside of town, but the brother and brother-in-law are known to come into town every so often to drink and to resupply. So while you're sitting here at the bar, the good doctor decides to take her leave and go upstairs and check out the accommodations that you all have paid for, and maybe rest a little after the long journey on the road. So she excuses herself, and Dr. Markward is led upstairs by Molly, one of the two women who works in the bar, and is shown to her room. Well, you two are left sitting there at the bar. What are you guys doing at this point?
So if I remember right, we had already asked bartender, Phibbs, and he had asked some of his staff to keep an eye out for hand ready. Let us know. Yeah, they came into town. One thing that I think Sol noticed, and especially from the last the last session, was the weird kind of atmosphere of death that there kind of seems to be in this town, especially with all the taxidermied animals, and literally the bar is right across the street from the creepy ass Undertaker and his casket shows. So yeah, I think Sol's going to, in a polite way as possible, inquire about that type of styling that they're doing, the decoration that they've chosen.
Phibbs kind of looks around and he smiles and he's like, "Oh, there's a lot of small creatures and things in the area, and you know, some of these prospectors, when they come through, you know, some of them didn't do so well maybe that day, and they didn't really bring in a lot from their claim, but you know, they're thirsty, they're still looking for something to drink, so sometimes I'll work and trade, and they'll bring me some oddities from out near their claims that they came up with, and I'll trade them a shot of whiskey for a skull or a snake skin or something, just to appease them, because they work hard in the sun all day, and I don't want to see them go without. You know, prospecting's a hard life."
Oh, no disagreement. I was suppose just admiring the sense of style that this entire town seems to have. It almost seems to have a pole hanging over it.
I mean, I don't know. It's Sweetwater's not a bad place. I mean, you know, every town's got their issues, I guess, but I mean, I've lived here pretty much since it kind of raised itself up, and you know, I was involved in that. Like that was a big deal for me. It was to help bring this town into fruitation. I don't remember the word, but you know, it was important for me to see it kind of grow. And I mean, we've got our problems, but we're working on them. I know that there's a bit of lawlessness and things like that. It's gotten a little out of hand, but Marshall Whitman, he's a good man. He'll figure it out with some time and a little bit of effort.
I'm certain that he will. Well, let me ask you, Mr. Phibbs, what is the strangest thing that's ever been brought into you in exchange for a little bit of the firewater?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that, you know, there's a really large snake skull. Like, I think it's a snake. It's got teeth. I keep it over here behind the bar. And he kind of goes and he sort of moves a couple jars and he pulls out this big kind of like elongated skull with a bunch of little sharp teeth. And he's like, "What do you think?" "I think it's kind of interesting."
Is it anything like Sol might have seen from... He's from Tennessee originally, so it's not like they have a lot of alligators or anything like that.
No, it's kind of unique. It doesn't look like anything like, I mean, you see here there's some deer skulls, there's some probably cattle skulls and things like that, but this is rather unique. It's maybe a little smaller than a human head.
It's mighty fearsome, Mr. Phibbs.
Yes. Oh, well, this one, Frank Hood brought this one in a while back. He's into collecting a lot of strange things. He's got a whole collection out of his claim, like shelves of like knickknacks and things he's sort of found and kept for himself and things like that. But he traded me this one when he was a little short one day.
Well, I appreciate you sharing with me.
And as you say that, you hear the sound of horses coming down like the main street. And they sound like they sort of fetch up outside the bar. And Kiyo, your 2-horse-drawn small carriage comes pulling up down the middle of this small town main street, kicking up dirt, kind of startling some of the locals as you come to a stop outside this 2-story, Not too fancy, just kind of regular looking saloon. You're muted.
Thank you. I did the Callie thing. Sorry, Callie, keep calling you out on that. What time is it of day?
It's probably later in the afternoon.
All right. So she'll probably pop it. So she kind of steps off of it, brings out her parasol, covers it, puts it over, and her driver helps her into the saloon. Opens the door, pushes open the door for her, and she'll strut in.
So Sol and Olive, you see the doors to the saloon swing open. Figure kind of steps aside and holds the door. And why don't you describe Kiyo for them as Kiyo walks through the door?
So the person holding the door is about average size, roughly dressed woman. And following up behind her is a very short, like 4'9" tall woman dressed in a really nice dress, very fancy looking parasol, and just very slight and dainty. And I'm not, I'll just, very clearly of Japanese descent. And very slowly, carefully walking through into the room.
The large gentleman behind the bar stands up straight where he's talking to two individuals sitting in front of him, and he says, "Good afternoon, ma'am. Welcome to the Sweetwater Saloon in Sweetwater, New Mexico. What can I do for you this evening? Or afternoon?"
For a moment, she looks confused, and then the driver leans over, kind of whispers to her, and she walks up to the bar. And in some rough English, replies back, "A drink will be good for now. Some whiskey."
All right. He takes down another glass, pours a shot of whiskey, and slides it over to you from the bar.
Kind of takes the glass and looks around it. The other thing he does, I completely slipped my mind because is her right arm is completely missing. I completely that slipped my mind there.
Well, at first, in the dim light, even the bartender didn't notice with the dress, and then says, "Well, ma'am, what happened, ma'am? Well, that's rude of me to ask, but if I could ask, what happened to your arm, and which one is missing?"
Her right arm. Yep, she'll take a drink and from a battle long ago.
So when you sit down at the bar, you get a better look at these two individuals. So why don't Sol and then Olive describe yourselves again? What do you look like?
Sure. Sol is in his early 30s. He's pale, has some freckling, mostly from the sun across to his face. He has a full, kind of like a chestnut-colored beard, and still kind of keeps it military length. Not that it was particular during the Civil War, but it's not like a wizard beard or anything like that.
Keeping it manageable.
Right. He still wears his Union coat when he's out on the trail and everything, but it's unbuttoned. He mostly just uses it to keep the sand and the dust out, and otherwise has donned more of his civilian clothes for everything else.
Excellent. Olive.
Olive looks like this.
Excellent.
Oh.
She's out to bring visual aids. Dang it.
I drew her, and then I forgot that I drew her, and I was like, I'll just show it now. Yeah, so she has long brown hair. She looks to be about like 26. She has a scar right underneath one of her eyes, and a dusting of freckles across her nose, and her eyes are like bright green.
And I'd assume Jeanette, she probably would recognize pretty much Solomon immediately. The jacket
I think
and such.
it might be a quick look, and then
Quick look.
both of you like suddenly realizing like this is somebody familiar to me.
Well, actually, that's something I forgot to ask before. Did Sol know Kiyo before she lost her arm?
I'll leave that much up to you, because I don't know what rank and what he did, so... Because she helped quite a bit, and she was also she was pretty young in terms of being in there. She was 16 when she fought and lost her arm.
Okay. Yeah, Kiyo, is that's you, isn't it?
She kind of looks over, confused for a moment, and then, holy shit.
I did not recognize you in all of that finery. The last time that I saw you, you were covered in dust and God knows what else. What? Who, what, when, where, and how are you here?
She kind of laughs for a moment. Probably mostly my own blood for what I was covered in. How? She kind of points outside. Rode in here. Why? I picked up a bounty, let's say. Found it on my way here.
That's mighty coincidence. The initials of this bounty wouldn't happen to be HH, would they? Mr. Handwriting?
You'd be correct.
It seems that we are on similar business. It is a small world after all.
She kind of nods. He kind of nods quietly, and there's definitely something more to her story about this, but she ain't telling.
As you nod and you're sort of kind of conversing and kind of getting to know each other, and this is sort of looking back and forth, like taking it in, listening, all of a sudden the bar starts to shake and rumble a little bit, and then like the skulls on the wall rattle and the glasses all clink on the back wall where the bar is, and you see him like kind of put down the things he's holding and like, oh, not again, damn it all, as a small earthquake shakes the town underfoot, and you see Molly and Patsy run to sort of secure some loose glasses on tables. A couple of chairs kind of tilt as you're all kind of standing there. Everybody roll me a dexterity roll.
I failed mine.
It's all right. How about you, Callie?
I failed.
You're looking to get your number or below to succeed.
Uh-oh.
I'm very much above that number.
I failed.
Okay, so as this happens, both of Kiyo and Olive, you sort of, your stools kind of go out from under you, and you kind of sort of fall to the ground on either side as the floor is shaking. Sol, you manage to kind of get up from your stool and sort of grab onto the bar and keep your footing as things shake, and it only shakes for about 30 seconds before it settles back down again. And you see the employees in the bar kind of looking around. You hear some yelling from the street of people cursing and just annoyance, but otherwise they just kind of walk around and start picking things up and putting them back in place. Like, this is not something they're unused to at this point.
Want to help Olive and Kiyo back to their feet.
Jesus Christ! What is happening in this town?
I think I've actually read about these. They're more common in this part of the country, but they have tremors from time to time. Mr. Phibbs, is that a common occurrence around these parts?
Well, I mean, it wasn't for a long time, but recently it's become pretty common. We get them now handful of times during the week. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm no, book science type person, so I couldn't explain it very well if I tried. But it's probably been a couple months we've been getting them here and there.
Well, that's mighty curious. These things don't just start and stop.
Huh.
Do you know if anybody's doing any dynamite blasting in the area?
Well, I don't think so. Dynamite's not really it's not really used too much around these parts. I mean, I think they started leaving it as like a special order item out of the general store because they just weren't selling it. And honestly, she didn't want to be keeping all that dynamite on hand just in case accidents could happen, and then no more general store.
Smart woman.
Well, so I think she orders it in now. Like it takes a couple days to get here if someone wants a special order. But otherwise, I don't think anybody's doing any big blasting or anything like that.
All right then.
And Kiyo's more or less made herself busy, like patting herself off and trying to remove any of remains of her fall.
Jason, the basically the barback that works here, comes over and sort of writes your stools for you. He goes over and he gets the whiskey bottle and refills any drinks that tipped over, and he's like, "Don't worry, you don't have to pay for the one that spilled. Sorry about that." And he wipes the bar in front of where you're sitting.
Kiyo waves her hand. No, I'm more than happy to pay, and she'll hand some more money to pay for that for a whole round of drinks for the group, pretty much. It seems smiles. Like Solomon knows Olive, so.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thank you. And he wanders back behind the bar, smiling as he looks at the coins and the dollars and kind of puts them away, and just big grin on his face. But Phibbs walks back over, picks up the glass he was cleaning, puts it on the back of the bar. Yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about the whole, the earth-shaking thing as far as, I mean, you sure it can't just start weird times, like, and then just go away on its own? Like, that's not a thing?
Now, bear in mind, I'm no geologist, but I did read that they have these out in California, and have ever since that people have been in California. I've not heard of them just to start in 1 week, but once again, I am no expert.
I wonder if Mr. Lee knows anything about that then, because he come here from that San Francisco a while back, and he gets like his fireworks and stuff for the 4th of July from there. They ship them into him, so wonder if he'll know about that whole earth shaking thing. Maybe it's because he's been lighting off his fireworks. Like, he might have gotten a new shipment recently, because he usually only does them in the summertime, but now he's been doing them. Maybe last week he lit off a couple.
Yeah. Well, it's odd that he's lighting off fireworks for seemingly no reason, but unless he's lighting them directly into the ground, it shouldn't matter too much as far as the shakes that we felt.
Now, these ones went up because they were like bright lights in the sky, but alright, I guess that, and he didn't do them too close. I mean, these were outside town, off on one of the cliffs outside town, so, I guess he doesn't want to light his business on fire, lighting him off from the roof of his business. That would be bad for business. Ma'am, and he looks at Kiyo. So, will you be needing any lodgings or anything like that? We've got a couple rooms upstairs.
I think that'd be very much appreciated.
It's $1 a night for the room.
She kind of looks to Solomon. How long do you think this will take to find the guy?
We're paid through for 3 days, and on an agreement that if it takes longer than that, we'll pay by the day. You seem to have your own stagecoach and everything, so by all means, I didn't know if you were planning on staying any longer than that.
Well, I plan to stay for long enough to get him, and then and then we'll see from there. She kind of shrugs. Got nothing better to do, just looking around for now. And she'll turn to him and hand enough money for about 4 nights, just to be safe.
All right, so he'll take your $4. All right, there's a key to your room. When you need to go up, Patsy or Molly can show you which one it is.
And you'll see her more or less. She's wearing like a cord necklace, pretty much, and she removes that, slips the key onto it, and on there too is you see a coin that none of you have ever seen before. It's gold. It's fairly big for a coin, and is ovular. I'm trying to think of the word for it. More or less, like if you've seen earlier Japanese coins, it's like that. More specifically, a koban coin.
As Kiyo's showing off the coin, the front door of the saloon opens again, and a small figure kind of comes walking through the doors. He's a little wiry man with really good tan. It looks like he spends a lot of time out in the sun. He's got a scraggly beard and scraggly blonde hair that comes out from under a Union kepi cap from the war. He's got a revolver kind of in the belt, in his gun belt. He wears a rifle over his back. And he's wearing just some really rough looking furs, old worn leather boots. And he just sort of walks in, gives a little ratty smile, and goes over and takes a seat at one of the tables, a couple tables from the bar. And Patsy sort of walks over and he's like, whiskey please. And she just, oh, all right. And she walks up to the bar and she's like, 1 whiskey for the gentleman. And he just sits down. He kind of takes his cap off and puts it on the table and just kind of settles in. She walks the drink back over and he takes it and he just sort of like nurses it. Slides a couple coins across the table. He just kind of sits and looks at you all at the bar and just nods and just keeps glancing around the bar.
Yeah, Kiyo will take this chance while sees the new person walks in, notices, doesn't look much too threatening, and look to something. Have you guys learned anything about your man yet? Or are we going in blind still? Or I guess, am I going in blind?
Well, we've picked up on a couple of clues, a couple of leads. We believe that he might be staying with a relation of his, and might have come into town under another alias. But it's for the best that we probably leave that for the morning. I think going to this location, this residence, at night would only invite trouble.
And then actually she'll pause a moment and then look to all of them and say, oh, I'm very sorry. I've not introduced myself. And she'll offer her her hand to Callie to Olive for a shake. And be like, I'm Kiyo. And you are?
Olive Archer. Nice to meet you.
I have a question. Does she offer the wrong hand first and then realize?
Absolutely.
Yes.
She's like, sorry. It's been a long day.
Understandable. I've been on the road all day, so.
If you'll excuse me for a second, and Olive gets down from the stool and makes her way over to the man who's nursing his whiskey, and sits down next to him and says, "How you doing, sir?"
Hey, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing mighty fine. You seem a little distracted. I'm sorry, I have observation skills out the wazoo, and you seem like an interesting person that I might want to write about. So
You right?
Oh yes, I'm a writer. A writer. And I'm always looking for new people to observe and put down in my notes. So you seem like you have a good story to tell.
Do you have a good story?
How about you first?
Who are you?
My name's Olive. It's really nice to meet you.
I'm
and
Hiram.
you are?
Hiram Colby.
Wow. That's a name.
That's my name.
And it's a nice one.
Thank you. Where did you get your name?
Well, my parents named me Olivia, and I didn't like it. So I took the name Olive instead.
Why Olive?
I like the color green. It matches my eyes.
You have green eyes. And he looks more closely. Takes a little sip of his whiskey.
We're not gonna get anywhere with this, are we?
Where are we going? Are we going somewhere?
How about this? Let me buy you another drink. And
Okay.
But first, you have to tell me a little bit about yourself.
Oh. I have a claim outside town. That's where I live. I come into town and I buy drinks with the money I get from the claim outside town. Do you have a claim?
No. That sounds interesting.
It's northwest of town. So that's why I'm here. But so why are you here? 'Cause I'm here to dig in my claim and to drink.
I'm here to drink.
You don't have a drink with you. You should have a drink. He points at at Molly, and he points at... She forgot her drink. She needs her drink.
That's really nice of you, but I'm fine. I have to go talk to my friends now.
Who are
It was
they?
really nice to meet you. Oh, they're just people. Maybe you can meet them one day.
Okay.
Okay. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Molly, was it? Get him another whiskey. On me.
Thank you. Olive with the green eyes. Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Olive sits back down and slams her head on the boards.
I was gonna say, as Olive comes back, she hears Kiyo giggling a little at that whole exchange.
That seemed incredibly productive. Perhaps we should have a conversation with the wall next.
Listen, all right? This is the second time in a day that this has happened to me. I'm really off, okay? It must be this town.
There is something off about this town. I will agree with you with that.
I'll have to take your word for it then.
I just like meeting people that are really interesting. He just seemed like he had a story, okay? And then she just takes a sip of her whiskey.
I absolutely agree with you, but absolutely there was... I think we need to dig with a different shovel to uncover that treasure, as it were.
He's got a claim outside of town, and he's come here to drink, and that's
Oh,
it.
I heard.
Okay,
It was
good.
incredibly loud.
Phibbs walks over and leans in between you all with his voice low. He says, Hiram over there. Yeah, he's one of them prospectors. He's quiet type. He comes in once, twice a week, I'd say. Pops in, spends some time down the street at the other watering hole, then heads up here to the Sweetwater, roams around town a bit for a while, and then he heads back out of town until you see him again. Bit of an odd character.
Anybody ever follow him?
No?
See where he goes?
I assume
Alright.
he goes back to his claim.
I'm glad that isn't a more common question.
I was gonna say, Kiyo just kind of gives you a really strange look, Olive, and then just says, "That's liable to get you shot."
I it's what I do, okay? I not like whatever.
You're an expert reporter, Miss Olive. None of us doubt that. I've read several of your articles.
You know
They
what?
are impressive.
I'm really not doing too good.
Kiyo kind of just pats you on the back. We all have our off days.
This is an
Hiram leans over from his table so he can look at Phibbs, and he's like, Barkeep, I got $1. I want a room for the night, okay? And Phibbs just nods. All right, Hiram, we'll get you a room for the night there. He's like, all right, I made enough to get $1 so I can stay over the night, and I'll go back tomorrow. He's like, all right, Hiram, we'll get you a room. Much obliged. Sips at his whiskey again. Holds his cup up to the three of you.
Phibbs, I want to
Yeah.
pull him in and whisper. Can you make sure that gentleman's room is as geographically far away from Miss Olive's as humanly possible?
He just nods. This look on his face like,
Thank you.
I can do that. Well, can I do anything else for you all today, though? You got your rooms. There's some food, good drink, good company. Other company points at Hiram, but anything else I can help you with while you're in town? Any other questions? Do you need to find anything? The general store is open till a little bit early into the evening.
I think I actually might take a quick stroll to the general store. Who's the purveyor there?
Well, that general store is owned by a lovely young woman. Her name is Miss Caroline Hunter. She is recently widowed, and she and her son run the store and take care of things over there. She does a very good job. She's quite the businesswoman.
And the other question I have for you, Mr. Phibbs, and I in no way intend to insinuate that I'm going to patronize your competitor, but I have heard some rather negative things of the other bar in town. Can you tell me anything about that?
That dingy little hole in the wall calls itself the Buena Suerta Cantina. Yeah, well, that's a name. Mouthful, if you ask me. Alejandro is this big gruff fellow who he runs it. He deals with mostly the prospectors and things like that, and the more rowdy cowboys who come through town. So there usually is a lot of fights and things over there, a lot of fisticuffs and things, people having misunderstandings. Not the kind of thing you'd find in the Sweetwater, because we like to keep things on a more professional level over here. But yeah, bandits and things like that like to frequent the Buena Suerta. But I mean, I guess if you're looking for information on a criminal, it's a place to start.
Indeed it is. Well, Mr. Phibbs, I thank you for your time and your drink and your hospitality. And I think Sol's gonna, if it's not getting too late, he's gonna at least go to the general store.
Okay. So, let's see. the general store is just down the block from the Sweetwater Saloon. What are Kiyo and Olive doing? Are you going to accompany Sol at this time?
Yeah, Kiyo figures. Kiyo figures nothing better here to do right now. That weird guy's here, so she wants to be out of here for now.
All right. So you make your way down the block. You see sitting on the porch opposite the saloon, the tall, lanky fellow that is the Undertaker, sitting in his chair, just rocking comfortably. He tips his hat as you all walk by and smiles. Gives an extra nod to Kiyo since he hasn't really, he only saw her going into the saloon before. You make your way down the block, and the general store is a newer looking building. It sits on the corner. You can see it's got front glass windows. The doors open to let in the afternoon air. And there is a probably early 30-year-old woman sort of moving around behind the counter, restocking the shelf behind the counter. She's lifting some small tins of like what looks like maybe coffee and stuff onto the shelf. As you enter, she turns around at the sound of footsteps and smiles and says, "Oh, hello. New faces. Welcome to Stillwater. Welcome to the general store. I'm Mrs. Hunter. How can I help you today?"
Mrs. Hunter, it's nice to make your acquaintance. My name is Sol Henson. These are my associates, Miss Olive Archer and Miss Kiyo Higa.
Hello.
I guess I actually had some questions for you. You see, we've come into town looking for a scoundrelous individual, hoping to bring him to justice. And not that you would have anything to do with that, but we just wanted to know if you had heard anything about this individual. His name's Hanratty, and see if anyone strange besides new faces like ours, of course, have come through your general store.
Well, I mean, faces come and go around here. Hanratty. The name isn't familiar. She takes out like a ledger book from under the counter and kind of like flips through a little bit, looking through. I don't have anything in here for recent orders from a Hanratty.
How about Probish? We hear he might be related to them.
Oh, well, she flips the page and she's like looking through, and she says, "Well, I do have them here. They have a small claim. Let's see. Thank you, Katie. I do have a small claim here. It's under Probish, Luke and June Probish. June comes in once a week or so to collect the goods and things that they need out that way. Looks like she's not doing for a couple days, but she should be soon."
Do you happen to know where their claim is located?
It's a few miles outside of town, to the north. I'm not sure the exact location. I've never been out there myself.
Well, I appreciate the information, ma'am. I suppose I should also ask you, you felt the tremors that came through town just a little while ago, I expect.
Oh, yes. I did. I'm putting some things back up that fell down, unfortunately.
You wouldn't know. I've heard from, Mr. Phibbs down at the saloon there that this is a recent occurrence.
Oh, yes, it's definitely only been, maybe the last, 8 to 12 weeks or so that we first noticed. There was, one, here or there, and then they do seem to have gotten a little more frequent in recent weeks, I will say.
Now, I'd considered the fact that this might be because of some sort of dynamite use in the area. I know that especially with
They
claims
do seem to have
and
gotten a little more
mining going
frequent
on, that some
in
folks
recent weeks, I
might
will
to use
say.
dynamite, and I've heard that you're the sole purveyor of that. Have you gotten in any major shipments? Is there anybody who seems to be purchasing?
No, we haven't had an order for dynamite in about, I would say, at least 6 or 7 weeks ago was the most recent one. And, nothing very large, just a little bit that I think they were going to use for some blasting on their claim. But otherwise, no, I have nothing here for that. Frank Hood came in. Frank Hood, he's got a small claim out in the hills as well. Usually does brings in some silver from his claim here and there, but I think he was trying to open up a new vein of silver or something. I don't know the specifics of how that all works.
Well, ma'am, I thank you for your help with that. I suppose, Miss Olive, Miss Kiyo, is there anything that you were hoping to get while we were here?
Kiyo just kind of shakes her head. I brought all my stuff with me, but I'll leave from here for now.
And you can see on a look around, just taking in the store itself, they carry, basics things like the coffee, flour, bacon, sugar. There's some clothes. Then they've got like rope, lanterns, oil, some prospecting and mining tools. And they've got a small selection of rifles and shotguns and a few revolvers, as well as ammunition for various guns and things like that.
Do they have any rock candy?
Roll me a luck roll.
All right.
Let's see if they got rock candy in the recent shipment.
Oh, where is luck? Oh, another shipment. I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble finding luck on the... Oh, there it is. Found it. Cool.
Yep.
We're good. Nope.
It looks like they do not have any rock candy in stock. But when you mention it, she says, "Oh, I will add it to my next order." And that's coming in later in the week, so...
Oh, I
maybe
will
we'll get
keep
some.
an eye out then.
All right. And if there's anything else I can do, just let me know.
Thank you, ma'am.
I
do
would
notice-
like to buy some ammunition.
Oh,
I
okay.
would like to
You
buy
want to get some ammunition?
for my revolver. Yeah.
Okie dokie. So, let's see. What kind of... you have a revolver?
Yeah.
Yeah, what are you packing, Kelly?
Just a revolver.
That's it? Come on.
She's a simple girl.
For now.
For now. She says that. In a few more episodes, we're going to find out she has a Gatling gun stashed somewhere.
She's been holding out on y'all.
Yeah, actually, I should have asked that. How much are bullets? Because I haven't added none of that to my character sheet.
I am double checking now.
Because I couldn't find it.
I can tell you how much laudanum is. 35 cents for 4 ounces. How much are bullets? Bullets, where are the bullets? I'm not sure. They don't have it on here. I mean, I would say probably, a couple bucks for a box of bullets. Wouldn't be too much. $1 or $2.
Okay, that's fine.
I do not see that. I will have to look for sure.
Yeah, because I was peeking through the thing now, and I just could not find it in any of that area, so...
Funny thing to
Very
leave off is the
strange.
price of bullets.
Yeah.
Also, Katie did donate, so every one of the players has a success.
Hey.
So if you make a roll and you want to make it a success, you do have one a piece. So I have made a note. All right, so yes, Mrs. Hunter nods and she walks around the counter to see you all out. As you are walking out of the store, you do notice she's got some of those wind chimes and things hanging, both a couple of them hanging inside near the front door and a couple hanging on the porch outside with those quartz-looking rocks hanging off of them, kind of clinking in the wind out here, and they reflect the sunlight in various colors. They're actually pretty nice, very pretty.
Yeah, once we get outside too, Kiyo pops open her parasol again and puts it over her shoulder.
She says, well, you all have a nice day, and if there's anything we can do, if I'm not here, my son Dustin will usually help out. He's about 14. You'll see him probably scampering about helping. I sometimes leave him in charge. He's learning the business. So, take care of yourselves. She turns and, strolls back inside, walking back toward the counter. You see her pick up her book and, close it and slide it back under the counter. And she goes back to restocking the shelves.
So it sounds like we might need to go check out that bar, the other one.
It looks like it might be a rough sort of time. You all up for that?
She says, just give me a moment. And she'll head back to the bar, to the carriage, to collect one of her firearms.
Okay.
And she'll kind of, she can't really probably hide it. Actually, which one should I have that debate of which one. Jeanette, should I get the big one or the small one? What kind of message do I want to bring over?
You mentioned the Gatling gun.
You could always roll a dice.
That is very fair.
Yeah, full auto Gatling gun, 2d6 plus 4 damage. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't think she can carry a Gatling gun with one hand, but
probably not. No.
You do see her walk back with a 10-gauge shotgun over her shoulder, slung over on a thing, and her parasol over that.
Well, all right then. I was considering leaving my Winchester behind, but it seems to be the fashion that we're going with. So
Kiyo kind of just gives us a smirk. Always expect the trouble.
That's fair. Well, Miss Olive, keep your revolver handy, I suppose.
I will.
All right, let's head to the.
She would have asked her driver to bring her stuff into her room and handed her the key.
All right, she will start loading your stuff out and into the room upstairs inside the Sweetwater Saloon.
For note, her carriage is a 4-person, 2-horse-drawn carriage.
So, the trio of you leave the general store, now fairly well armed, and head down the main street, heading for the Buena Suerta Cantina, which you've been told is sort of almost on the outskirts of town, heading out of town. As you go, you kind of walk by again the Marshal Whitman's office, where you can see the marshal inside through the windows. It looks like he's putting one or two of the rifles back on the gun rack. Perhaps he'd been cleaning them or something. You walk by a couple residences, and you see off to one side on the left-hand side of the street as you're making your way along, a little what appears to be a schoolhouse, where there are a bunch of children inside the schoolhouse. You can hear them answering questions from, it sounds like a teacher who's asking through with the windows open. There's maybe about, from your best guess, 10 to 15 students inside the school right now. And then on the opposite side of the road, you see a small church, and you can see what you immediately recognize to be probably the Reverend. He's a tall man. He's wearing a very tall stovepipe hat on his head as he's walking down the porch. He's got his priestly collar kind of tied, wears a black coat, black pants, carrying a hefty book with him that you assume is the Holy Bible, and he sort of steps off the porch and is walking in your direction. And as he kind of comes close, he sort of tips his hat and says, "Good afternoon. Good afternoon, strangers. May the Lord bless you."
Sol just tip his hat back.
He continues to walk almost past you. He says, as he kind of turns his head and looks back as you're walking by, "I hope that you're not going to that evil den of booze and danger down the end of this road. Nothing good can be found inside those doors."
Well, it just so happens we're not looking for anything good, sir. But we are doing the Lord's work. You have a fine evening now.
He mutters something that you can't understand under his breath as he continues up the street, heading in the opposite direction, shakes his head back and forth as he slowly disappears from sight around the corner. And very quickly, you come to a small, ratty-looking, kind of dingy one-story building that literally sits almost at the end of the one road that leads out of town. And you can hear sort of a loud kind of music playing, very off-key, from some kind of maybe organ or something, and some really like loud, rough singing that's completely out of tune but very boisterous. You note that there's a couple of windows, two of which you can see are broken. A third that you can see has probably been replaced recently. And there is this pile off to one side of the building that you realize is probably furniture that was damaged at some point in a brawl, and they've just carted it out and left it up to be used as firewood or to be reclaimed if it can be reused.
Now this looks like much more of an interesting place.
That is one word for it. All right, everyone, let's try to keep this as bloodless as possible. And let's all get out of this in one piece.
Close as possible. Smash, cut to Kiyo. Shotgun over shoulder.
So, you all enter the Buena Certa Cantina. And as you do, and you sort of step in, the boisterous singing kind of comes to a halt, and there's like a ping as an off key is played on the organ and stops. And a couple of heads turn in the direction of the door and sort of take you all in. And on a quick look around, you see there's maybe about a half dozen or more kind of ratty looking, clothed in various furs and things like that in various stages of just wear and tear, individuals who definitely look like either down on their luck prospectors or maybe down on their luck outlaws from out of town. But they kind of give you a once over, look up and down, eyes lingering, as you don't exactly match the normal clientele that they're used to seeing. And before slowly turning their attention back to their singing, their playing, and their drinking, though eyes still continue to sort of dart back in your direction and then back. There looks like there's some kind of card game maybe going on in the corner between three individuals. And there's a very large fellow standing behind the bar just sort of pacing back and forth, keeping an eye on everything as you walk in.
He looks like the fellow to ask then. And Kiyo starts walking over to the bartender. Or at least the person standing at the bar. Definitely not sticking out like a sore thumb in this place with the nice clothes she's wearing.
As you get within maybe like 5 steps of the stools of the bar, he stops pacing and turns and looks at you, and actually his face cracks into a big smile. And it surprisingly is like a warm, welcoming smile on this big, kind of scary looking fellow. And he just says, "Good afternoon and welcome to the cantina. What can I do for you this afternoon, ma'am?"
Well, to start, I could use another whiskey.
"Another whiskey? I haven't poured you one yet today."
Make it 2.
Yes, my kind of woman. And he takes down 2 glasses and uncorks a bottle of whiskey with his teeth in the cork and just fills 2 glasses. Looking past Kiyo, he looks at Sol and Olive. "And you 2 newcomers, what can I do for you?"
I suppose we'll have the same. Make it a double, please, sir.
Fills up a couple more
I'll
glasses.
just have one.
He gives you a lingering look, and the smile widens. He's like, "Just one? Are you sure you don't want a double?"
I'm sure.
All right. He smiles and he fills your glass to the same amount as both Kiyo's and Sol's, so definitely pours you a double and slides it over, and he says, "That'll be $5 for the beverages."
Kiyo kind of leans over and he looks at the other 2 and says, "I got you," and slides over $5.
He actually looks shocked and laughs
This is
because there's like now eyes on you, like looking like surprised, and he goes, "I was just kidding. That's an expensive."
She says, "No, keep it."
His eyes widen a little bit, and he says, "Well, thank you kindly. Oh, that's quite the He turns around, grabs a new bottle of whiskey, and kind of puts it on the counter in front of you. He's like, We'll give you that, and we'll call it even." So
she
now you
nods
have
and a full bottle in front of us.
full bottle, along with each of you has a double.
And I have a question. Is there open seats at the bar?
There are, because a handful of the people who are in the bar are either playing the card game, and a few of them are over by this out-of-tune organ, now picking up their boisterous tune again.
All right, and yeah, she'll kind of already closed her parasol when she entered. Bad luck. Don't want to push that. And sits down both her gun and her parasol at her feet as she takes a seat on it. But still keeps the parasol in her hand, just kind of leaning against the ground. And just kind of waits for the other 2 to kind of join her.
Yeah, I'll have a seat there as well.
So, what brings y'all to Stillwater?
Well, sightseeing, let's say, but also I'm looking for someone.
Well, this is the place to find someone. Most people end up in here for one reason or another, week in and week out.
Well, I was curious. You ever heard of a man named Hanratty?
I don't know. Name doesn't ring a bell.
Well, that's
Is
all
he,
right. How about... Go ahead, Jenny.
Oh, is he a friend of yours?
You could say that.
Yeah, no, I can't say that's a name that's familiar to me. I mean, maybe if you describe him, tell me a little bit about him. What business is he in?
And she'll kind of look over to the other two because she knows they found out much more information than she has on this situation.
Well, me and Hank, we go way back, and he doesn't necessarily know that we're coming into town. I'm actually not even sure if he's here, but we thought that if all paths cross again, that'd be somewhat serendipitous. If anything, he'd probably have a claim out here if he was in the area, and he'll give a physical description that most best matches the wanted poster that they found at the marshal's office. Yes, the same day. So he'll give a physical description based on that.
Well, this does ring a bit of a bell. And then from behind you, one of the singers who was by the organ yells over, why y'all looking for Hank? What business you got with Hank?
Oh, no business at all. Just he's someone that I used to know, and just wanted to reconnect with an old friend if that was at all possible.
I don't think Hank has any friends.
Well, that's a sad life indeed. I believe that he does, and I believe that I'm one of them.
Kind of strolls over to you, looking at you real close. He's kind of a little bit shorter than you, big nose. He's got a dirty cap on his head that he takes off, and when he does, you see he's like missing like hair and has a scar on his head, like about halfway down his head. And he's looking at you real close, and he goes, usually if people come asking questions, they got interests in people that they shouldn't have. I should know.
Well, you should know. Who are you?
Name's Duncan. Who are you?
Well, my name's Solomon. It's nice to make your acquaintance, Duncan.
I ain't decided if it's nice to make your acquaintance yet, sir.
Kiyo kind of just looks up at him because she is definitely shorter than him. And just kind of smirk on her face.
What are you smiling at? What? He looks at his hat in his hand. He puts his hat back on, embarrassed about his scalp. And what about you? You're quiet. You're quiet over there. What are you looking at?
Oh, I just like your hat.
Why do you like my hat? It's dirty and it smells funny.
Look at Sol.
Rattler got your tongue? Come on.
Can I buy you a drink, sir? You seem in need of one.
You can definitely buy me a drink, but that don't mean we're going to be friends when you buy me a drink. I'm thinking about whether or not I should clap you.
I can't force you to do anything you don't want to do. Well,
Kiyo laughs at that. She actually lets out a laugh there.
Why is she laughing at me?
She's just a friendly kind of person, sir.
I don't know. My friends don't... Wait. People shouldn't laugh at other people.
You're absolutely right.
She just kind of looks him up and down once more, and just kind of smirks and says, "Just you trying to act tough is all."
I don't need to act tough. I am tough.
So it's worth noting that from the second this guy walked up, Sol has had his hand behind his back where his Bowie knife is, just lightly pressing the hilt. But
Kiyo would kind of just give Sol a little tap on the side with her hand, kind of like, give a reassurance. Just like, how about this? You seem to know. Well, you called him Hank, right?
I called him Hank. That's his name, right?
You know him, right? Did you know where he would be?
Maybe I do. Maybe I don't. But why am I going to tell somebody else where Hank is? Hank ain't told me he's got friends coming. If I talk to Hank...
Well, how about this? How about a little wager?
I'm listening.
You say you're trying to act tough, right?
I'm not acting tough. I am tough.
Well, let's see that. I'll fight you. Come on. She kind of she looks dead serious at him. Like, Come on. You want to clock him?
He's just mouth agape staring at you. Like, you
This
can see
4'9" teeny girl is threatening to fight him. Yeah.
the gears are like spinning rather slowly for a second. Like he's trying to figure out if, like, what
That's
does this
serious.
mean? Do you want to try to do like a persuasion or an intimidate to egg him into this?
Yeah, let's do. Which one? Which one? Where is those? They're
So
both about
either-
the same, so
Okay, so
I'll just roll for it.
yep.
It's a very low chance, and because I forgot, that's the one thing I forgot to put points into. I still barely pass.
You passed on, and what was it? A persuade or an
intimidation.
Intimidation.
So I'm assuming
all right.
intimidate would have the same base as persuade, because I can't find it, either that or I just can't. No, there it is. I'm blind. I found it.
So he like is looking at you, thinking about it for a second. He's like, I can knock you down in one punch to the face. You're this tiny little thing. I could fight him, and he points at Sol. I could fight you. And the big man behind the counter shakes his head. He's like, Duncan, that's not real appropriate, Duncan. It's like, you stay out of this, Alejandro.
She kind of looks by. All right. Don't worry. She looks to Alejandro. Don't worry. I can take care of myself.
The three guys playing the card game have like lowered their cards and they're watching this. The organ is like playing, but it's like every like 2 or 3 seconds a note plays as like the person is turned away and is watching.
Is watching this 4'8" girl talk shit to a guy.
He pushes the dirty cap back on his head so he's got a better look at you, and he's like, "Ooh, I'll let you throw the first punch."
All right. I'm assuming that will be brawl, right?
That would be brawl.
So what was that you said? Like, there's that threshold thing you said, right, Jeanette?
So when you're gonna roll, because he's gonna try to like
Dodge. Yeah.
dodge. So you want to get your score, or better, or lower, I should say.
Yeah.
If you get half your score or lower, it's a hard success, and then if you get 1/5 of your total score, it's an extreme success.
So I got 20 over 40, so I
So
got
you have a hard success.
success.
All right, so he will try to dodge. So he needs a hard success or better. Ooh.
Ooh, that's a high roll or a low roll. I should say.
that's so he needed a. So he also gets a hard success. So he dodges out of the way, I believe. I believe he succeeds if he's dodging. Let's see.
I loved also, by the way, Callie, your reaction to this of just shock and horror.
Actually, that's an extreme success, so he does dodge. Because that's 1/5 of his dodge score. So he dodges aside as you take a swing at him. And he's like, look out, I'm going to knock you out with this punch. And
I love the idea of him just calling this out to her. Like,
so he is going to attempt to throw a punch at you. So you can try to dodge this.
all right. So you said 1/5 is the next.
1/5
step.
is an extreme success. So this fist is flying right at you. He has a hard success on this.
I also got a hard success.
All right, so he swings and you dodge out of the way. So meanwhile, Olive and Sol, like, you two have kind of moved aside as he lunged in between you, and like is taking a swing at Kiyo.
I think Sol's seen Kiyo in worse situations than this. He's kind of just.
I mean, considering he's seen her lose an arm.
Yeah, so he's sitting back with his double whiskey.
So he stumbles past you as you dodge aside, and he spins back around and puts his fists back up. Come on! Come on!
That's an extreme success for that one.
All right, you clobber him with that one. How much damage do you do on that hit?
All right, well, let's roll some dice. So, need a D3, D6. I think, yes. So that'll be 2 plus 3. So that'll be 5 damage.
All right, so you hit him solidly in the nose, and there's a crack, and like his nose starts bleeding. He stumbles back, his big round nose. He like holds it. It's like, ah, god damn! And Alejandro's like, you should call it quits while you're ahead. And he's like, I'm not ahead. And he's just gonna lunge with his. He's gonna try to left hook punch you real quick.
I love that. I'm not gonna quit while you're ahead. And he's like, I'm not ahead. Yes, you aren't, dude. Well, I got a 1 there.
A 1, like a 1-1?
Like a 1-1.
All right. So he lunges at you again, and you just step aside. He actually trips over the bar stool and goes sprawling on the ground, like 10, 15 feet away from you, and like lays there, sort of. You think contemplating whether or not he should get up or play
contemplating all the life decisions, and that has led him up to fighting a 4'9" girl and losing.
I'd like to go and try to help him up.
You go over. He's just lying there face down. He hasn't rolled over as of yet.
I'm just going to kind of kneel down and be like, you all right?
Damn, I tripped over. She stuck her foot out. You saw it?
Well, fair or not, I think that the lady did win the wager.
She also has returned to her seat and has taken to start drinking her whiskey.
Yeah. Well, she's lucky that I'm a gentleman and I don't hit a lady.
Maybe because he just couldn't hit the lady, but...
Quite right. Let me tell you this: if Hank is in some sort of trouble, I'd like to be there to help him. If you could let him know that some friends are in town that are here to help him on whatever he's gotten himself mixed up in. I know that he has a scattered track record. We're not here to cause any trouble any more than we already have, I suppose.
Kiyo just flashes a grin.
Yeah, I'll let Hank know somebody's around looking for him if I see him. I'm not saying I'm gonna see Hank, cause you know he does his thing and I do my thing. But if I see him, I guess I'll let him know somebody's looking for him.
Can I try a persuasion roll just to maybe get him a little bit more on our side?
Sure. So, what do you do to persuade him with that very successful roll?
I think I'm going to take a handkerchief out of my back pocket and kind of roll him over and kind of hold it up to his nose there and just hold still for just a second now and crack his nose back into place.
Ow! That hurt!
Well, it's going to look a lot better now. Now listen, we're all friends now. We've shed a little blood and had some laughs. Now you just you let Hank know that he has some friends in town, and I think we'll call that fair, don't you?
All right. Yeah, I guess I'll call that fair. I'm glad it didn't come to violence.
Now see, we can all be friends. There's ain't nothing that keeps us apart.
All right. Well, you just be careful who you pick fights with, young lady. I took it easy. If I talk to Hank, I'll tell him his friends here looking for him. You all
Kiyo kind of looks at Olive and just quietly says, the amount of times I've heard people say that. Under her breath, quietly. You know, she doesn't want to rise him up too much now. She's got what she wanted from this.
Olive says, holy shit.
As Olive's talking to Kiyo, Duncan tries to reach over and remove one of the 3 drinks on the counter, one that's sitting in front of Olive, as he goes to walk away.
No. And she'll slam her fist down on his arm.
I was waiting for her to say her knife there. I'm like, oh geez. And then she said fist. I'm like, okay, never mind.
Roll me a brawl roll real quick, Olive.
I don't have that. Okay.
So it'd be fighting brawl. Nope. All right, so you slam your fist down. He does let go of the drink, but he gets his hand out from underneath it. So you don't slam it on him. Your fist makes a resounding thump on the bar because underneath is a shelf, so there's a bit of a hollow boom. And he's like, "Oh, my apologies, that's not mine. I thought that mine must be over there by the. Oh right, yeah. Well, thank you. I don't. He takes the smelly hat off again and kind of gives a nod, puts it back on his head. I don't mean to offend. I apologize. I'm gonna go over and sing my song now.
Kiyo kind of leans over and says, I didn't hit him that hard.
You have a nice night, Duncan. And he's going to...
You too.
Sol's going to lean into Olive and go, well, Miss Olive, it looks like we get to follow somebody tonight.
Yes! she does that too.
Oh. Kiyo just kind of raises her glass to you guys and takes another drink.
He wanders back away, and after a couple of minutes, the din kind of picks up again. You are all kind of sitting there. Alejandro goes about kind of checking on people. A couple of the guys at the back table playing the card game. Looks like they go to get into a fight, but Alejandro sort of walks over and breaks it up pretty quickly. And you just sort of hear various conversations going on while you're sitting there. One of the conversations, a name comes up that both Sol and Olive have heard. It's talk of the young man in the jail, and they're discussing how he seems to have completely lost his mind since last week, and everyone's concerned about what could have happened to him while he was out watching the cattle overnight. So there's some conversation going on about that. And a couple of people are also sort of discussing whether or not it could be... there's a rumor that one of the prospectors started a few months ago said that he saw a ghost up on the mesa. And they're discussing whether or not maybe the ghost could be responsible for what happened to this young man. Maybe he ran across the ghost at night by himself and it did this to him. So there's just a little bit of talk going on as you sort of nurse your drinks and kind of hang out by the bar. But you don't see Hanready or anybody who matches his description come or go while you're sitting there.
Okay. Well, I would like to kind of keep an eye on Duncan and see if he leaves at any point. But I guess in the meantime, I want to talk to Alejandro behind the bar. Alejandro, is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I have to be completely honest with you. When we came into town, we heard nothing but bad things about your establishment. But I have to admit, you keep a relatively tidy ship around here. I'm rather impressed.
He smiles and he says, I appreciate that, though. You are here on a quiet part of the day. Things pick up as the night wears on. They also pick up when more of these prospectors make their way into town. This is I guess the word's low key for my establishment. We haven't had a good table break-in party in about 2 or 3 days, honestly.
And Kiyo will kind of softly interject of, my apologies for causing a scene back there, too.
Oh, that was like a opening act around this place. You gotta break a few glasses, maybe shatter a bottle over somebody's head, smash a chair across the back. That's when you really got things going around here.
Alejandro, can you tell me if you've heard any? I'm hearing strange rumors just being in this bar. There seems to be a decent amount of gaggling amongst your patrons, but have you heard anything strange going on about perhaps the boy they have down there at the jail, or anything going on with any of the claims in this area?
Oh, that young ranch hand there. That's I don't really know a lot about that. Somebody found him just babbling. I don't think he can talk anymore. He doesn't make any sense. He just jabbers when you try to talk to him. I'm not even sure he knows what you're saying. I mean, my thought, maybe he fell and hit his head and cracked his skull, but the doctor seems to think no, there's no physical signs of what could have happened to him. So I don't know. I mean, beyond that, we had a prospector go missing earlier last year, and then one of the cattle rancher's daughters turned up missing a few months back too, and he's still hot-headed about that. Thinks she got kidnapped or something. The mother's still hopeful she's alive. She spends a lot of time praying at the church for the kid to come back. I mean, otherwise, I don't think anything too crazy. I mean, Lee's been firing off his fireworks recently. I don't know what he's celebrating over there, but usually he just fires them off on 4th of July to celebrate 4th of July. So I'm confused as to what that's all about. I don't know. Other than that, not too much that I can think of.
Now, what's this I hear about a ghost being seen out on the mesa?
Oh, yeah, the ghost. Well, Tim Reynolds, he's one of the prospectors. He's got himself a nice little silver claim going. Came in, said was late one afternoon. He was riding into town. Saw this nasty skeleton looking thing up on one of the mesas, just glaring down at him. Gave him the willies something fierce. Said he didn't hang around, rode off like the wind to get away from it. Didn't want to get up close and personal, if you know what I mean.
Understandable.
And I think Sol's going to lead into Kiyo at that point and inform her. We actually saw something incredibly similar to that on our way into town. We tried to track it down, see where it went, but I can say that from binoculars it looked like a person, some sort of person, but when we got closer it seemed to have these strange footprints like a large bird. So we tacked it off as that and went on our way without further investigation. But it seems that there's perhaps some strange things out on the mesas, so just to give you a heads up.
This place has been nothing but a bit strange since I got here anyways, so...
At least this bar has fewer dead things on the wall.
Something tells me maybe that might change after the patron, so not actually dead.
Is there anything else I can help you with? Do you need a refill? I can't offer rooms for the night. We don't work in that department here.
I think that Sol will take another drink and just kind of keep an eye on Duncan. He's not going to be necessarily drinking as quickly. He'll be definitely nursing the whiskey, but try to keep senses about him. But he's going to try to keep an eye on Duncan, waiting for him to leave.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Kiyo kind of, after a bit, will just lean into Solomon and all and say, if we're going to be following him, I'll go get myself into something a bit more suitable for that.
Oh, if you're heading back to the Sweetwater, do inform the doctor, or at least leave a note to let her know where we're going.
All right, I'll leave something with the bartender then. And yeah, she'll stand up and pick up both her gun and her parasol and start heading out.
All right, so Kiyo heads out from the building and heads up the main road, heading back toward the center of town where the Sweetwater is. Sol and Olive, just roll me spot rolls after Kiyo leaves the building.
Oh my gosh. No.
Uh-oh, is your bad luck coming back, Callie?
Oh, it's been bad. I don't think I've made a single roll this whole time.
Now,
Oh.
don't forget, if you get fairly, there's two things you can do. So, if it's something where you want to try to re-roll the roll completely, you can do what's called pushing a roll, which would let you re-roll. You'd have to come up with an explanation of like what you would do to sort of improve it. But if you fail it again, it could be detrimental because I get to decide what happens and if it's bad. Or if you're close when you make a roll, as Sol is within 2 points of a success, you can spend luck and you can make it a success. And also don't forget you have successes from Katie.
I think I am going to spend luck and save that auto success. So it's 2 points of luck that I'm now down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, so Kiyo leaves the building, and about 30 seconds to a minute later, Saul, you'd been keeping an eye on your friend Duncan, and it looks like he goes like to the back door, almost like he's gonna go out to take a pee break out back, and you kind of see him go out, and you can see him just outside the door, like he doesn't move for a minute, and you look away for a second. When you look back, he's not there, and kind of do a quick look around to see if he came back in, and you just catch him sort of moving past the front doors, like he went around the side of the building and is going up the street in the direction Kiyo went.
All right. Yeah, he's going to nudge Olive then and try to quietly follow behind. Keep a little bit of distance.
So, Kiyo, why don't you roll me a spot hidden check?
All right. 20 over 30, so I succeed.
All right, so you're making your way up the main street. You get sort of to the point where you're kind of passing the church and the cemetery, and you notice you think you have somebody shadowing you, as there's a figure kind of moving sort of behind the building opposite the cemetery. It's a little, like a small house.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like he's trying, like, staying off the main road and sort of following you up the main street.
All right. Well, she's gonna keep walking, but she's gonna kind of try and see if she can keep an ear out or an eye out for, keeping an eye, make sure they don't get too close.
Okay, so you make your way up the main road. Every once in a while, glancing back, you continue to see this figure kind of moving along. You also, at one point, notice a distance behind the figure, the forms of Sol and Olive sort of shadowing the figure too.
Shadowing the shadow?
Yeah, Sol and Olive, do you want to give me just stealth rolls to try to be a little bit sneaky about them not seeing you?
You can just call us Solive if you need to.
Solive.
Solo.
I made it!
Hey!
Yes!
I am going to use that auto success right now.
Okay. Excellent. So you make your way along behind, and you can see the figure of Duncan. he sort of ducked in behind the small house as Kiyo went up the street. Once Kiyo was past the church, he sort of darts across the main street and uses the church porch kind of as cover to follow. So you definitely looks like he's sort of trying to follow and see where she's off to and kind of keeping tabs on her. And Kiyo, you eventually reach the Sweetwater saloon, and he hasn't caught up to you. He's still kind of keeping his distance behind.
All right. Well, she's not too worried. She knows she has Sol and Olive behind. Solive, let's just call it that. It's easy. Solive behind her, kind of keeping her, watching her back. So she's just gonna walk in again, give a polite nod to the bartender, and say, "I'm looking to go up to my room now. If you don't mind, would one of your hands be able to show me?"
He looks around. He's like, "Patsy, can you show the lady up to her room?" And Patsy's like, "No problem. This way." And she goes to the stairs at the other side of the room and kind of walks you up the stairs. And she goes like 3 doors down on the upper floor, and she's like, "Here you go. This is all your things were brought inside by your friend."
Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
"You're welcome." And she goes back down across the balcony and back downstairs. Right. As you're going into your room and the door is closing, you see Duncan kind of slip in through the main door, kind of do a look around, and he takes a seat kind of at a table by the door and sits down.
All right. Yep. So, yeah, she's going to start getting herself changed.
All right. So, Sol and Olive, you see Duncan go up to the doors of the Sweetwater, kind of do a look, step through the doors, and disappear inside a little while after Kiyo entered herself.
What do you think he's planning?
I do not know, but it's probably nothing good. Just keep your revolver handy, and just in case he decides to do something stupid.
Judging by how the first time went, yeah, it probably isn't going to go well anyways.
So what do you two do? What's that?
Yeah, I'll wait for them. What are they doing?
We're just watching and waiting at this point. I mean, there's, yeah, no reason to let him know that we're there if he's planning something.
So you stay out kind of like maybe a little ways, like a block or so away, watching?
Yeah, as long as he's within eyesight. So he's actually inside the saloon right now,
yeah,
right?
he stepped through the doors and disappeared inside the building when you were coming up the street behind him.
So we might even be just outside the building as long as we can kind of, keep him inside.
Dip around a corner.
Yeah, stand up, hang out by the coffins.
Yeah, and when you do kind of go over by the coffins, like sort of standing across the street to watch, the tall figure comes out from the door of his little coffin shop / house, and he looks over at you both, kind of and he just quietly says, "Can I help you?"
Hello.
Oh,
Sir.
hello there.
Just admiring your wares.
They're very nice, aren't they? Very nice indeed.
Very fine. I'll keep an eye on the gentleman. I'm going to converse with this creepy bastard.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, handmade, if I'm not mistaken.
By these hands right here.
Very, very fine craftsmanship.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Are you in need of one?
Not presently. Perhaps in the near future. We're going to see how the next few hours play out.
He pulls at his little beard and looking at you. Oh, well, yes, you want to be sure good coffin from my establishment. You set up Reverend Boone to administer your services. Oh, I'll also dig your grave. That's something else I do for the services I render.
That is, and you know what? Service like that is hard to come by, especially in a monopoly like you seem to have. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of competition for undertaking in this little town.
Well, no, I mean, we do have our fair share of those that have gone on to the next life, but I managed to keep up with the demand, if you will.
Well, it's better than being left to the desert and torn apart by coyotes, so...
It's true, and I make sure to bury them down far enough and to seal those lids tight, so nothing's getting in there once I seal you in.
That's good to hear.
Nothing getting out either.
Nope.
Well, why would anything get out?
Oh, we've just been hearing ghost stories lately. Something about something weird out on the mesa. That's all.
Oh, well, most of them ghost stories come from people who forgot to drink their water fill their canteen before they left on a long journey, and they start seeing things before they get back.
That's fair. Absolutely fair.
It's true, but, I don't think you have to worry about anything like that. Those are just stories. Nothing comes back. Once it's gone, it's gone. Put it in the ground, and it moves on. We are just vessels for the soul, as the good preacher tells us.
Dust to dust indeed, sir.
But I haven't seen you just wandering about today, looking to maybe find your luck with gold or silver, or there's some cattle ranches that are hiring. Are you gonna stay for a while, or are you just passing through?
We're trading in copper more than anything else, I suppose. Here to bring a young man to justice.
Ah. I see. A dangerous young man?
We believe so, sir, yes. So if you happen to hear of anything, please let one of us know. You've seen us about, the new faces, of course.
Do you all want to leave me your measurements just in case? He's very dangerous.
That's all right. You seem to be an attentive fellow. I'm sure that you could probably do some guesswork on that.
I probably have one that'd fit you. I might need a little one for her. But who's the fellow you're looking for? Maybe I've already done your work for you, and maybe I already put him in a box.
Well, we have it on good authority that he is still kicking. It's a Mr.
Shame.
Hank Hanratty. Yeah, indeed, I agree with you on that one.
Hank Hanratty.
Yeah, he seems to be connected to the Probushes. So if you happen to see any of them around,
He's June's kin. I like June. She's
Oh,
a
yeah?
nice lady. Yeah, good woman. Good, got a little boy. He always comes over and, he's got this little bouncy ball thing that he plays with when he comes into town. He likes to play with the Mrs. Hunter's son when his mom brings him in.
well, that's good to know. Well, if you happen to see Miss Probush, I'm sure you know the Adam about one rotten apple spoils the bunch. We believe that Hank might be that rotten apple. So
That's a
if you
shame.
it is. And we sure mean for no harm to come to him, as bad news as that might be to you. But he certainly does need to meet the law.
Well, I mean, if you're looking for Luke and June, and their place is it's south of town. You just gotta, go out that way, and he points kind of away, kind of past the saloon in the other direction. It's a few miles south that way. They got a little place. They've been doing a little better since her brother come out. Having the extra hands has been helping out a lot, from what I hear.
Now, Jeanette, just to clarify, because we had heard before that their claim was north of town, would their house be in a different part than their claim?
Probably not.
Okay. All right.
Yep. So yeah, just that way. Just a couple miles outside, they got a little place. June keeps it up from what she talks, and you know, the little one, he helps where he can, but then Luke, he does the lion's share of the work, and the brother there that just come, that Hank, you said, he's been a real help from what I hear.
Well, I appreciate the information, sir, and it does seem to be that things are getting late, so we won't bother you any longer. You have a nice night.
All right, if you need anything as far as funeral services go, you just look for Roop, okay?
Oh, no competition, sir. Absolutely.
All right. You know, if you leave and you go to like another city and you want to be buried here, I'll if they cart you back, I'll still do the services.
I appreciate that very much. And he's going to turn to Olive. I'm running out of small talk here, and I do not want to hear his opinions on the weather.
Also, I just love the idea of you just chatting up this Undertaker like, oh god, I don't know what else to talk about.
This tall, creepy dude with this beard and just like really like big eyes just staring at Sol, like grinning ear to ear, but it's not a happy, like, I mean, he's happy it seems, but it's kind of creepy.
It's that off-kilter grin that you look at it like, so there's something not quite right about this person.
Yeah, I worked retail for 6 years. I know exactly who this person
Yep.
is.
He says, all right, well, just you know, a few miles south that way, just in the hills, you'll find them.
All right, thank you kindly, sir. And Olive has you as well. Olive, has target moved at all?
Has our target moved at all?
Nope. You can kind of see him, like his legs inside under the door. He seems to still be sitting in the table closest to the door, and he doesn't seem to have moved.
That's going to be pretty late now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably getting on into the evening. The sun's going down. It's, you know, getting about time to maybe turn in for the night.
Yeah.
I assume by now she's probably got herself changed, Jeanette.
Okay.
And she's wearing now, well, she's in a opposite to what she was wearing before. This one looks more, well, masculine, we'll call it. Like, so she'll come down, start heading down. She's wearing like still some very nice looking stuff in terms of quality, but some leather boots, a duster, dressed more practical, let's call it. And definitely has gun in holsters, as she had brought both her guns with her. But she still has the parasol with her.
All right. Just roll me a spot hidden as you come downstairs.
All right. It is 11. Spot hidden's 30. So I have a hard success.
All right. So you see Duncan trying to be nonchalant and kind of low key at this table. Sticks out like a sore thumb in this place.
Yeah.
You probably even smell the hat when you first come out of your room.
Oh God.
As he's kind of sitting below the balcony that overlooks the bar room. And the hat definitely has its own specific odor that goes with it.
Has he seemed to notice that I'm coming down?
He does seem to notice, like, he's now looking at the tabletop, just kind of like keeping from making eye contact.
She's gonna walk over to him.
Oh shit.
So
Sol?
outside, Olive notices Kiyo walk over to Duncan at the table from across the street. And when you walk over, he is just sort of scratching the top of the table. Trying, like, you can tell he knows you're there, but he seems like he's trying to pretend he doesn't know you're there.
She kind of turns, looks at the bar and says, "Can I get a drink for my friend here?" In a very, like, you can hear the, like, sarcasm in her voice at this. She's like, "I didn't expect to see you here, Duncan. Such a fine place."
Well, what are you doing here? Didn't I just see you at the cantina a while back?
Yeah, I felt like I needed to freshen up a little.
Oh, are you staying here? I didn't know that.
He kind of just shakes it. No, just needed to freshen up. I bored a room to change.
Whoa. I mean, must be that's just get a room to change your clothes in. I mean, if I got to change my clothes, I'll just tend to just change my clothes. Like, maybe I'll stand behind a building.
She kind of just shakes her head. Some of us have an appearance to keep up.
I don't have that. Nope, I don't have that. I've got a hat and my clothes and my boots, and I only own one set of boots.
She'll take a seat across from him now because I'm assuming he's sitting at at a table, right?
Mm-hmm.
She'll take a seat across from him and kind of lean in and say, "Why are you following me?" And she says this Jeanette, she says this in a very ice cold tone. Like, she's been cordial up till now. Very clear tone shift here for him.
His voice goes up an octave, and I'm not following you. I just was looking for a change of scenery, and I haven't been to the Sweetwater in a long time, so I thought I'd stop by before I head out of town. Do you want to make a psychology roll to see if you believe him?
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get that, but I was super close. I was close, though, in terms of that. You know what? Because I got 13 over 10. I might just use my luck here. Some luck, right? Because
if you spend 3, it'll be a success.
Yeah, I'll spend my luck here.
All right. So you think he's lying? You think you he followed you.
Yeah.
It was pretty obvious. You think he's lying.
She'll just kind of shake her head. I've seen children who've been able to tail someone better than that. Don't lie to me.
Well,
did you follow me?
I mean, I don't know. I just was trying to figure out some more about you. Normally, I'm much better at knocking somebody out, and you're very quick on your feet and very spry. And I was just curious about you and your friends looking for Hank. Maybe I might get some money out of him if I could tell him more about you.
Well, how about this?
Yep.
You can make a bit of money from me by introducing us to Hank, if you will.
Oh, I mean, I suppose I could do that. It's getting dark out. Do you want to go now?
I assume, can I see Olive at all, or?
You can see them, he was sitting with his back to the door, looking into the room to keep an eye. So you're sitting facing the doorway, so you can see, Sol and Olive kind of across the street.
Just doing a wave thing. And she'll just kind of reach up and just give a wave over to you two.
You see Sol just, kind of getting away from the tall, skinny Undertaker, who just gives, a wave.
I feel like Sol internally is like, oh, thank God she finally got out.
So the two of you join Kiyo inside the Sweetwater Saloon?
And she did order, she would ask to order him a drink, too.
Yeah, Molly will bring over a drink, so...
Just for him, though. She's had her fill for the day.
Alright, so Molly brings him a drink that he just sort of looks at and looks at you. Sol and Olive, do you come into the bar now?
Yeah, I think when he walks in.
Yes.
Duncan.
He looks over and says, "Oh my God, I can't believe I ran into you here."
This town has only so few people in it.
It does, though, doesn't it? Most of them don't live in town, so,
And Kiyo will kind of just... Duncan's very graciously offered to introduce us to Hank. And we can go tonight if you'd like, or we can wait.
It's dark out, and it's a few miles that we gotta go to get to Luke's place to go see Hank. I could take you tomorrow.
Sure. Actually, just so I know which way we're heading, is Luke's place? What direction is that in, cardinally? There's no wind inside here.
One second. He goes to the front door. He looks. It's that way, and he points through the bar in the direction that Roop pointed from his porch, so south.
Okay.
It's that way. A couple miles that way. He pokes his head back out the door and like does another look-see real quick, and he's like, "Yeah, yep, it's that way." I had to look because I'm in a building and it throws me off.
No, I understand. Measuring which way the wind is blowing always changes directions for me too.
It does, though. You know, even inside. And he just
Absolutely.
smiles.
Duncan, do you need a place to stay tonight?
I mean, I was gonna curl up in my sleeping blanket that I brought, but I mean, if you got someplace better.
Duncan, let me buy you a room here tonight. I think that's the least we can do for your friendship.
Well, thank you very much. That is very kind. See, I knew that we would be friends. He looks at Kiyo sideways, questioning, and looks back at Sol and smiles. Yes, and it's getting late. I'm getting tired. And takes a drink and swigs it down. I think that's a great... Bartender, I'm going to get a room. He's paying.
Yeah, I'm going to go to Fibs and, I'm give the man a room, and I will take the key, if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, sure. It's $1 for the night. Man, I'm full up now tonight. This is great. Well, if you need anything, my room's in the back on the first floor over here. Jason also, he's got a room. So if you need anything in that, just let one of us know.
Wonderful. And we can put Duncan next to the other weirdo.
All right, so Duncan happily will take his room, surprised at the hospitality of Sol. The other weirdo is actually not in the bar, so you assume he has gone upstairs since you were here. Hiram is not here. What are the rest of you doing for the evening?
I'm going to lock Duncan in his room.
Okay.
Excellent.
I have a question. Is there a window in that room, or?
If Sol requests that he doesn't get a window, then he will not have a window in his room.
Yeah,
like they can put him on an inside.
He's being locked. He's being
put him in a closet.
He's been put in a cell, more or less. Let's be honest here with ourselves.
All right, so basically, Hiram and Duncan's room are next to each other, kind of at the end of the hall. Who wants to be in the room next to Hiram? Not Olive.
Not
Olive. Olive as far away as possible.
The doctor's room is at the far end of the hall. All right, so yeah. Sol's gonna be.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't like bang on the walls or sing.
And Kiyo and Olive are kind of in the two rooms in between the doctor's room and Sol's room.
And also Kiyo's driver's just staying in her room.
Mm-hmm. So do you all settle in for the night? And tomorrow morning you're gonna let Duncan show you how to find Mr. Hanready and collect
Sounds
this
like
bounty.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's
each
not
of
gonna
you.
be that simple. We all know this.
Well, so each of you go to bed for the night. You're settling in, and Sol, I want you to just roll me a listen roll.
He is banging on the walls.
So, as you have settled in for the night, and you probably are dozing off and on in sleep, you're not sure what time it is, but you hear coming from Hiram's room at one point, you hear this. And I think we'll end on that.
Such a weird dude.
So I think we'll end there with Sol being woken by this strange noises coming from Hiram's room next door. So we won't be playing in 2 weeks, I believe, because it is going to be New Year's Eve, and I'm sure that people have plans. I plan on being out and doing some things for fun and celebration. So we'll be back 2 weeks after that. So that will be, I have a calendar here for this because I can't remember. So we will be back on the 14th of January by my calculations for our next session. And why don't we go around, and if you have any plugs you want to do, we'll do those. So why don't we start with our newest player. Hey Vex, what's up?
Hey, well, you can, like I said earlier, you can find me at VexyHexy on Twitter. Check out my Twitch channel at Fractured Moon D&D. We play every Thursdays. Well, normally we play every Thursdays and Sundays at for the Thursday at 4:30 p.m. EST, and we play in. Well, Callie also is going to be in that game
soon. Not this Thursday.
I'm not even sure if we're even running this Thursday because I don't know if Uis is back yet, or Uis is going to be running yet. But yeah, we play Retroverse and we play an all-anthro game in that one. And on Sundays at 9:00 p.m. EST, I play a 5e game that we named Team Genius, and I just died in it. So,
eek.
Yeah. So check those out.
Excellent. And how about you, Callie? What do you got going on?
You can find me at Capt Callie on Twitter. I'm in Retroverse on Scotty Hood's channel on Friday, on every other Friday. This Friday, I will be on it. And Dungeon Academy Power Score RPG on Sundays at 6:30. And a lot of other stuff.
Everywhere. You can find Callie everywhere.
Yeah, like if it's run by somebody, it's probably, just look on my Twitter. I'll let you know. Honestly.
Excellent. And how about you, D-Sword? What do you got going on?
Hi, everybody. I am D-Sword. You can find me on Twitter and Discord at DSword16. I post about dogs and travel and TTRPGs and lots of other fun stuff. I am coming up on a game for Half-Rate Heroes. I don't know exactly when or what I'll be playing, but I will let you know once I do. You can catch me on reruns on Scraticus channel and the Greyhawk channel. And if any of you are going to Candle Nights, I will see you there. Look out for me. I will be one of the many, many people in Hawaiian shirts because it's Hawaiian themed this year, which is fantastic.
Nice. I like it. And I'm Jeanette. You can find me here every other Sunday for Skull and Shackles, D&D 5e, every other Tuesday for Shadows Over Stillwater, Call of Cthulhu, and every other Monday for Call of Cthulhu Beneath the Burning Sun, which is another Old West Cthulhu game based in the same universe. Who knows? Maybe things that happen here happen to affect things that happen there. Who knows? We'll see. So we'll be back with a new session of that next week on Monday. And we'll be back, like I said, after the new year. So everybody have a happy and safe New Year's and a happy holidays, because we probably won't see you between now and then. And you can find me, if you follow my Twitter, you can see the things I do. I play on Power Score RPG, I play at Scotty Hood's channel, and other various things. So thank you all for watching, and for those who check us out later. And thank you all for joining in and playing. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're wondering what's going to happen, because I'm wondering.
I want to know about the guy with the fireworks. It's just been offhand talking
I know.
about
I'm curious about that too. So
No, you didn't investigate him though. Like you.
Yeah, I talked to him, but I didn't hey man, what's up with your firework thing?
Right, I
think
think
with fireworks.
You followed a hunch though.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe you and Mr. Lee have to have another chit chat.
Yeah.
We'll see. So no, Olive's gonna have to write down some more notes in her journal of who she's got to chit chat with in town. There's a story here somewhere.
I'll find it eventually.
Olive's gonna find it. All right. So with that, we're gonna head out for the evening so everybody can go about their business, and we'll see everybody soon. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Goodbye.